You thought this was about them? No. This is about you staring into the abyss and finally recognizing your own reflection. The world doesn't break people through dramatic collapses. It carves away your soul piece by piece until you don't recognize the fragments left. They weren't even skilled surgeons. Clumsy butchers who kept testing how much damage you could absorb before you'd finally stop breathing their name. Every scar you carry isn't a mark of their cruelty, but proof of your capacity to survive. You've been walking through life thinking these wounds made you weaker, when all along they were forging armor no blade could penetrate. The real tragedy wasn't their betrayal. It was watching yourself beg for scraps from hands that only knew how to take. They built entire kingdoms on your suffering, didn't they? Every tear you shed became bricks in their fortress of superiority. But here's the secret they never considered. Foundations built on stolen pain crumble under their own weight. While they were counting victories, you were learning what true resilience looks like. Not the polished kind sold in books, but the guttural, primal survival instinct that emerges when you've nothing left to lose. This existence we inhabit isn't some gentle journey toward enlightenment. It's a war zone where most soldiers forgot they were fighting. People wear masks so long they mistake the disguise for their face. You learned this truth too late. That kindness shown to predators becomes a weapon turned against you. But now you see the battlefield clearly, and clarity is the first step toward victory. You were raised believing vulnerability was strength, empathy was virtue, and forgiveness was maturity. Beautiful lies told by those who never had to bleed for their idealism. Real strength isn't found in open hearts, but in knowing precisely when to close the gates. True maturity comes from recognizing which bridges deserve burning rather than rebuilding. The world is filled with emotional vampires wearing designer suits and fake smiles. They feed on your reactions, grow fat on your concern, and thrive in the chaos you generate trying to please them. Their power came not from any inherent strength, but from your refusal to acknowledge the war being waged beneath polite conversation. But wars aren't won through negotiation. They're claimed through decisive action, through calculated coldness, through choosing silence over explanation, distance over desperation, and discipline over drama. Your enemies mistook your humanity for weakness, your compassion for cowardice, your restraint for fear. How naive. Now watch as the tides shift, as the hunter becomes the hunted, as the victim transforms into the architect of her own destiny. This isn't revenge. That's too small a concept. This is evolution. This is transcendence. This is claiming the throne they tried to convince you you'd never occupy. You were never bad at relationships. You were just too valuable for the wrong ones. Toxic people don't seek connection. They hunt resources. And you, with your loyalty and heart, represented an abundant supply of emotional currency. They invested just enough to maintain access, then withdrew everything they needed. Stop blaming yourself for seeing beauty where there was none. Stop punishing your instincts for trusting when deception ruled the day. You weren't naive. You were simply operating from a place of abundance while they came from scarcity. Two different economies trying to trade currencies, and you paid the price for misunderstanding the exchange rate. This isn't about learning to protect yourself from future attacks. That's reactive thinking. This is about becoming impervious to their weapons entirely, about reaching a level of self-mastery where their attempts at manipulation bounce off you like rain off stone. When you operate from such a place of centered power that their negativity has nowhere to stick. You've been taught that forgiveness is healing, but sometimes forgetting is the real medicine. Not erasing memories, but refusing to let them poison your present. Carrying pain is inevitable. Letting it define you is optional. And every moment you spend dwelling on their betrayal is another brick added to the prison you construct for yourself. Power reveals itself in stillness. Watch how desperately they flail when you stop reacting. Notice how quickly their confidence cracks when you refuse to play their game. Their entire strategy depended on your participation. Without it, they're left grasping at shadows, confused, and increasingly unhinged. This isn't about becoming cold. That implies losing warmth you once possessed. This is about controlled temperature regulation, choosing precisely when and where to radiate energy rather than having it stolen indiscriminately. Becoming the sun rather than the moon, generating light rather than merely reflecting it. Your value was never determined by their approval. That equation was flawed from the start. Someone who can't appreciate authenticity will always devalue what they don't understand. So stop seeking validation from those whose judgment lacks credibility. Your worth exists independently of their comprehension. You're standing at the threshold now. Looking back would be natural but unnecessary. Everything that shaped you remains within. Lessons learned through fire, wisdom earned in darkness, strength forged in isolation. Carry these forward, but leave the emotional baggage behind. This next phase isn't about vengeance or vindication. It's about elevation, about rising so far beyond their sphere that their opinions hold no atmospheric pressure on your existence. When you breathe different air, walk different ground, speak different truths, create your own ecosystem of influence. Surround yourself only with those who reflect the highest version of yourself. Build alliances based on mutual growth, not shared misery. Forge connections rooted in authentic resonance, not desperate clinging to familiarity. Master the art of strategic disappearance. Let your presence become valuable through its selectivity. Allow your words to gain weight through careful deployment. Make your actions so deliberate that each carries the gravity of intention. This isn't isolation, it's curation. Like a gardener removing diseased plants to protect the health of the whole. You're not rejecting people out of spite, but cultivating space for genuine connection to flourish. Quality over quantity, always. Develop unshakable internal metrics. Your worth measured by personal standards, not external validation. Success defined through private benchmarks, not public perception. Progress tracked through inner alignment rather than outside applause. Become a paradox to those who once thought they knew you. More powerful, yet more peaceful. Stronger, but gentler. Fiercer, yet freer. A living contradiction to their simplistic narratives about who you are and what you're capable of. Embrace the duality of warrior and sage, the ability to fight when necessary, but preferring the path of wisdom. To stand ready for battle, but choosing peace whenever possible. To possess great strength, yet exercise remarkable restraint. Your silence now holds more power than their loudest proclamations. Your absence cuts deeper than their sharpest words. Your indifference terrifies more than their threats ever could. Wield these tools with precision and purpose. Construct fortresses around your heart, not with walls of bitterness, but with moats of discernment. Gates that open only for those who demonstrate consistent respect, reciprocity, and reverence. Security through awareness, not paranoia. Watch as the world shifts around your newfound center. Opportunities align differently. Energy flows in altered patterns. Possibilities emerge that were previously obscured by toxic interference. This is the physics of personal sovereignty. And when they look back years from now, searching for the moment everything changed, let them trace it to this decision. Not some dramatic confrontation, but the quiet resolve to stop giving pieces of yourself to those who only knew how to discard them. Because this isn't just about surviving what they did to you. It's about thriving in ways they can't even imagine. About becoming so thoroughly remade that their memory of you fades beside the brilliance of who you've become. Let them whisper your name in darkened rooms, wondering what went wrong. Let them scroll endlessly through digital echoes of your past, hoping for a glimpse of the person they tried to control. Let them feel the growing distance like a physical ache. You're not the ghost haunting their conscience. You're the living embodiment of everything they failed to destroy. The walking, breathing testament to human resilience. The living artwork created from the ashes of their neglect. Keep moving forward. Keep evolving. Keep ascending. Each step takes you further from their reach, closer to your truth, deeper into your power. This is the path carved through pain, illuminated by insight, strengthened by scars. And if they should ever stumble upon glimpses of your new reality, let them see only enough to understand what they lost, but not enough to regain access. Let your success be the final punctuation in a story they thought they controlled. This is your declaration of independence, your emancipation proclamation, your coronation ceremony, not marked by crowns or ceremonies, but by the quiet confidence of someone who's finally free. So walk tall, speak less, achieve more, love deeper, but only where it's cherished. Give freely, but only to those who honor generosity. Live fully, but on your terms alone, because you've emerged not just intact, but improved. Not just healed, but heightened. Not just changed, but chosen. And in this new chapter, you're not writing for an audience anymore. You're writing history.